He's
How are
very
you doing,
quiet.
first of all, Coach?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We're doing fine. Dylan Sin is with me from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette as well. Jim Coyle here from Indiana Sports Beat Radio. One of your players, of course, Jalen Hood-Schifino, big signee for Indiana. The Hoosiers yesterday committing there. A great get for them. But we've heard all about what kind of a player he is from the outside. You've seen him play for years and been with him. What's he like as a player?
The first thing that Jalen is, he's a great person. He's a very, very good leader. And as a basketball player, he's a very unselfish guard who wants to help his teammates be the very best they can be while helping himself. He's a winner, he's a tough guy, and he's a great defender and a rebounder.
And those are all incredible things to hear because it has nothing to do with basketball. It starts as the person, as the first thing you said, and man, that is everything because that will guide everything that you're going to do on and off the court, which comes to ground. So that is incredible to hear. And I talk about kids that come out of places like Montverde. It's not a high school. It's not a normal high school. These guys they're focused. They have a mindset that is just different. And it's different to a business setting almost of sorts, of sports business setting, which is a smarter in today's age. It's ahead of the curve now.
Yeah, that is correct. Montverde Academy has been around since 1912, and our school is really, really diverse. We have kids here from over 90 different countries. It's an international boarding school, and we try to help our guys develop and our girls develop into leaders of the future. This is about their education. This is about whatever their sport may be, but it's also about being leaders in the community, being leaders in business. And that's why our guys and girls really excel at the levels that you've seen across the board.
I know it's very demanding down there and it's very exclusive. Not everybody can come there, play there. How do you get to play, be a part of that program in Montverde or any programs like that?
Well, one of the great things we've been very fortunate over the last 10 or so years to have established yourself as the leader in high school basketball. And as with any other elite situations, there are kids around the country and around the world who are interested in being a part of something like this. Their parents seek us out for academics as well as for athletics. Our developmental programs here at Montverde is second to none. And that's one of the reasons why we've been so fortunate because kids like Jalen Hood-Schifino and his family wanted to be a part of this and have gone above and beyond to make sure that they're prepared to enter into an environment like this and succeed.
Dylan?
Yeah, Ray. We've heard a lot, and I wanted to get back to something you said earlier about Jalen. Is that he's a great defender? We've heard a lot about that in the last 24 hours here, and how good of a defender he is. Can you tell us a little more about that and what makes him so dominant on that side of the ball?
Well, one thing is about 6'5", 6'6", and he weighs a solid at least 210. He's a grown man, okay, and he's a very physical player, and he's just grown into that mindset that he's just not going to allow you to do what you want to do on the floor, and he's taking that personal. Okay, he's been a kid that for years have never been in his mind not given the type of credits that he thinks he's due, and he plays with a chip on his shoulder.
Mike Woodson, of course, it is going to be in his first year at Indiana. Obviously, any doubts of his recruiting have been washed away, but he has got such a knowledge of basketball and a knowledge around him. What was it about Indiana that you saw for Jalen Hood that was attractive to him?
Well, Jalen has been recruited by Kenya Hunter for quite some time. Kenya was at a different school prior to going to Indiana. I've known Kenya for a very long time, and he's always had an interest in Jalen. After he got to Indiana, he kept on recruiting Jalen. They had a coaching change. He stayed consistent with that prospect. And the fact that you've hired a coach in Coach Woodson, who is a former NBA coach, I think those things really appeal to Jalen and his family, to be around someone who has really been committed to him, and then having the opportunity to play for a coach who has been where he's trying to get to.
Dylan?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Jalen and kind of his personality and how good of a kid he is. What kind of leader is he has he been on the team during his time at Montverde, and how good can he be in his senior season this year?
We got some noise in the background here. Um, Well, as a leader, last year when Jalen got here, he was learning, and he had great leaders to learn from. Caleb Houston, who's now at Michigan, Ryan Nemhart, who's at Creighton, Langston Loveday at Baylor. Those guys were our senior leaders last year, and he had a chance to work and live with those guys and learn from them about what it meant to be a leader at Montverde. You can be leaders in other areas, but at Montverde is such a unique atmosphere, is such a great atmosphere for young people, that just being a part of the culture of Montverde is something that you have to learn and grow into. And he took last year as a year that he developed a lot. His on court ability, his off court ability, his classroom ability, all improved over that year. And now he's prepared to help younger guys move forward in the same way.
And how is Jalen? Is when you get guys like that, you can see leadership qualities in them, especially when there are freshmen around. I'm always interested and fascinated to watch a senior with a freshman and how they are with those guys. How is Jalen? Because you mentioned in leadership qualities, how has he been with the younger guys?
For instance, this year he's roommate with a younger kid, a sophomore. Okay, and I am responsible sometimes for trying to figure out personalities and who fits best with whom from a living standpoint. And I chose Jalen to be one of our leaders in that regard with this young man. And after they met their first opportunity to meet in the dorm, he called me and he said, "Coach, I really like this kid. This is a kid that is hungry to learn. This is a kid that needs to have a mentor." And what I've learned about Jalen over the last 3 years that I've known him, I've watched him how he treats his mom and his little sister. Okay, and for those reasons, I thought he would be a perfect fit for this young man. And I tell you, there are not a lot of kids that have that level of respect for people around him as he does, especially when having a younger sister that's probably 8 or 9 years old, and how he listens to her and how he interacts with her and how he makes sure that she's happy. At one of the earlier his sophomore year, he wanted to come here. Okay, but he stayed back in North Carolina because he felt that he was not yet ready to leave his younger sister and his mom, because he felt that he needed to be there as a big brother and someone as a male figure to help with making sure that his sister became who she's become.
That's pretty incredible, because the level of maturity there is beyond his years already. It's maybe beyond my years, unfortunately, but it's just incredible to hear a kid that possesses that, because it's such a it's not it's more rare, unfortunately, than it is common today. But and it does it so well because the game has now changed. And by the game, I mean everything that goes with it. NIL, the expansion. We're talking about college realignment and all that stuff. Everything continues to change, and you really need to have a level head and level-headed people around you.
Well, that is so true. I mean, our society has changed so much, and Jalen is prepared to, take each step, one step at a time, in his leadership, in his work, in his dedication. And I tell you, I think the University of Indiana has gotten a really, really great kid and a great leader for their future. And I think that once he gets there, he's going to hit the ground running like he did when he got here. Okay, and you'll find that in his work ethic. You'll find that in just the way that he carries himself, and he's an extremely respectful person and a very respected person.
Dylan?
Yeah, I guess going off of that, you talk about all these qualities that he has right now. What are you hoping to see from him this season, his last season of high school basketball, and how can he get better before he goes off to college?
It's a great question. I think that just having the responsibility of being our leader on the floor is going to be another challenge that he needs to overcome. Last year, he had some buffers around him. This year, he's a guy that is going to be on the floor much more than he was last year. And we anticipate him being able to take that level of responsibility, be an extension of Coach Boyle onto the floor, and being a safe haven for his teammates to look to for leadership and direction.
Is it better? Are you happy for him that he's gotten his selection out of the way before the season so he can focus on where he wants to focus and not have to deal with the outside stuff?
Absolutely. He and I had a conversation probably about a month ago where we discussed the timeline of making his decision. And I just reminded him of how difficult it is to manage all the stuff that you have to manage here at Montverde, the younger kids that are coming in, the practices, the games, the academic rigors that you have here at Montverde, and also having to field calls from 5 schools, 7 schools, and each school having at least 3 coaches that are calling you, then that really makes your day and your life hectic. Okay, so I try to explain to him that he needed to look forward to putting this thing to behind him as soon as possible. And the other part is you don't want to miss an opportunity that you really want, because the longer these kids wait to make a decision, the coaches have to do their job. They have to make sure that they have someone that is going to be on their team. So they might not be able to wait on you forever. So if you find a place that you really, really think is the best place for you, go ahead and make the decision if you're so inclined, and get that behind you.
Coach Ray Miller, I cannot thank you enough for taking some time to join us. I hope that we get to talk to you a lot, because that means there's more great recruits coming from Montverde, which is just a superb facility. That how many the draft 7 off of your, was it 7 kids have been drafted off the last team?
Well, we had 7 kids in the last draft. We had 4 kids drafted in the first round from the 2020 team, and 3 of those guys were drafted in the lottery.
That's pretty good. That's not bad. Coach Ray Miller from Montverde Academy, I cannot thank you enough. Like I said, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you, sir.
You are so welcome. Great being on with you.